Now let's take a look at the Vector and Text Shape tool that's available under Z Plugin, Text 3D and Vector Shapes. This allows us to create 3D text as well as shapes from vector art that can be turned into 3D objects, which we can then manipulate inside of ZBrush. So to begin, I'm going to tear off the plugin menu, dock it on the side of the screen, and we want to create a nameplate to go on this bust that's ready for 3D printing. What I want to do is I want to place a name right here on the base for this creature. So this is an alien. We're going to name him Alien Kardec. So let's just put his name on here. What I'll do is I'll come over here and I'll type new text and then just type Kardec. Click OK or hit enter, and then that will create text here. So let's F for focus. Here we can see it's actually rotated because our character, as you can see, he's actually rotated incorrectly. So what I'll do is I'm going to fix that just by going to the transpose gizmo and turn on the pizza box stack there. And I'm just going to invert my selection just by Control-Shift clicking on that. So only the bust and the base are now selected. And then I can just easily do a snap rotation around 180 degrees and then bring him here so he's facing the same direction. So we have this text here. I can change my font as long as it's selected. I can adjust it going through all the different font options, arrow by arrow, or I can click and select directly like this. So let's see if we can't find a nice bold font. We'll do an Arial. Adobe, ooh, SD Gothic Neo is nice. That's nice and bold. So we'll use this one. It's got a nice kind of modern look to it. Now, by default, it only has a certain set thickness. What we can do is we can come down here, we can adjust our extrusion to make the letters thicker. We can adjust our bevel here and put a bevel on the edges of each one of those letters. We'll turn that down just a little bit. And we can adjust our bevel resolution as well. Now, what I want to do is I want to scale this down. So I'll just go to my gizmo, turn off the pizza boxes so it's just the selected tool. And let's scale this nameplate down. And we want to orient it and place it there in the space that we've created for the nameplate. So I'm just going to scale it down like so. And perfect. Now, I can leave it like this if I want it to be embossed, if I just want the letters to be raised. However, what if we'd like these letters to be carved away? In that case, I'm going to select the base and I'm going to create a new folder, and we're going to call this base. Inside the folder, I'm going to place the Kardec text. Select that and set it to subtract. Now, as long as live boolean is turned on, you see that's actually going to subtract that text like so. So we can actually scale this down Z to make it a little bit deeper. Let's do that. Bring it out just a tick. There we go. Now, if I'm happy with that, I will click the gear icon here and I will just click Boolean folder, and that will Boolean that, make a new object for us. It automatically hides that folder and just gives us visibility on this, the U-mesh, which actually, if we select this and go into frame mode, we can see that that is actually geometry. That subtract Boolean is baked into that mesh. So this is really, really useful for creating any type of text object. Of course, once it's a polygon object, we can create all sorts of deformations on it. We can curve it, we can warp it, we can do anything that we want with it because it is a polygon object. Now let's take a look at another thing that we can do in this plugin, and that is adjust SVG, that scalable vector graphic format. Those are basically paths. Typically they're created in Adobe Illustrator. It's just vector art. So if I click New SVG, let's go ahead and actually create a new tool here. I'm going to create a sphere. Let's do a polysphere. We'll divide this a few times. And then I'm going to create a new SVG. Here we have a pattern SVG file. I'm just going to open that. And now, if we press F for focus, you can see that that vector graphic, which is just a selection of curves, has been turned into actual geometry. Now, of course, I can adjust my extrusion. If I don't want it to be quite so thick, we can turn that extrusion down. And we can turn our resolution up if we want there to be more resolution to that piece. I think I made that too thin. Let's turn our extrusion up just a little bit more. Oops, not quite that much. And let's turn our bevel down. I don't want a bevel on this. I just want to keep the graphics as they are. So here we have a nice extruded 3D object that we got from that SVG file. Now I want to unify this so it's the same size as that sphere. So I'm going to go to Deformation and I'm going to click Unify. And that'll scale, well, it should scale that down. Let's go to the sphere, Deformation, Unify. There we go. So now the sphere is the same size as that vector graphic, which has been turned into a 3D object. Let's select that 3D SVG. Let's go ahead and scale that down a little bit, and I'll show you a neat thing that we can do. If I go to B for brush, M for matchmaker, and select the matchmaker brush here. Now, if I just hold down, click and drag, what that does is it deforms that mesh to match what's underneath it. So if I can take the move brush now and I can countersink that so it lays perfectly against the surface of that sphere. Now that brush is B for brush, M for matchmaker, and it is the matchmaker brush here. So this is really nice if you've got vector art that you want to use to create tracery or details on armor or costume elements. It's very, very easy to take that, turn it into a three-dimensional object, and then matchmake it to an underlying surface so it deforms and lays perfectly against that surface. So that is the 3D text and vector shape menu. Hopefully you found this useful and you can see ways that you can incorporate this into your own workflow. Thanks for watching.